and I've been following a whole food plant-based diet for many years, but just recently I have lost almost 40 pounds in the past few months. So to be exact, it's about 36 pounds the last time that I checked. Now, this is something that I've been trying to achieve for a super long time and always struggled and couldn't really figure out why. So today I'm going to be talking about the top 3 reasons that I personally think people fall off of a plant-based diet, or that they just aren't successful when it comes to the weight loss part of a plant-based diet. And lo and behold, all of those 3 things are things that I was doing myself. All right, but before we get into today's video, I have some really exciting news. So in the spirit of Black Friday, to all of my American plant-based family out there that follows me, I'm having the biggest sale that I have had so far with my brand new weight loss recipe ebooks. So this ebook is full of the exact recipes that I was eating to lose the 36 pounds in these past few months. So I was actually keeping track of these recipes as I was going, and then I ended up picking out the recipes that I found that I was eating the most to get the weight off and put it all together in an ebook for both you and for myself. Why do I say for myself? Well, because I'm still following those exact recipes. Now, the key to my weight loss that took me years to figure out was eliminating the overt fats. Now, again, this is just what worked for me. Obviously, everyone has to figure out what works best for them, but this is what I've done, and this is what has worked. So I started to eliminate avocados, nuts, seeds, nut butters, and of course oil, and also got rid of breads and pastas. So I do have some other wonderful oil-free whole food plant-based recipe books. So if you're not interested in totally eliminating the fats, then I also have some amazing recipes that include some nuts and seeds. But my most recent book, I wanted to make true to the weight loss part of my journey, and that is most definitely by eliminating those overt fats. So if you already don't have a copy and you'd like to check out my brand new weight loss recipe ebook, then now is the time, because this is the lowest I've ever had it posted. Right now, for the pre-Friday Black sales, it's 60% off to the first 25 people who purchase it by the time I release this video. So that is an excellent deal considering it's a brand new book, and I just launched about 4 weeks ago, I think. So if you are in need of some recipes that I can pretty much guarantee are going to help you to get your weight loss moving again, then be sure to check that out. I will have the link posted in my description box below. Okay, so since my recent weight loss, I've had a lot of my followers coming forward to say that they have also struggled with similar things that I talk about on my channel, some of my struggles over the years. It actually is so comforting for me to hear those things, probably much like it's comforting for you guys to hear my struggles, because it just has this sense that, you know, you're not crazy, you're not lazy, you're not a bunch of things, but that a lot of us are actually sharing in those same struggles. Much like many things in today's world, there's a lot of confusing information out there. So honestly, I never blame any of us for being confused when it comes to health and weight loss. So today I'm going to be touching on the top 3 things that I felt were really holding me back when it came to weight loss, and likewise 3 things that I feel are probably holding some of you back. The first thing I want to touch on is being prepared. I can't stress how important this one is, and how, you know, self-sabotaging it can be when we are not prepared. I am the queen of not being prepared. Well, before. Now, whole other story. And this is precisely why it's topping number 1 on my list. So being prepared is key when it comes to following a plant-based diet, more specifically an oil-free whole food plant-based diet. And the reason for that is that there are not many options out there when we are outside of our home. So as we all know, there's fast food places, you know, variety stores, there's all kinds of things on pretty much every corner of every street. And with that being said, that can get us into dangerous territory. As much as we like to think that we can probably hold off until we get back home, perhaps you just had something to eat and you think, no, I'll be good for the next 2-3 hours. Like seriously, how many times have we done that? And then, you know, your day gets ahead of you, you end up doing things that you weren't really expecting to do, and now you're out of the house much longer than you anticipated being, and you're hungry. And this is precisely where being prepared comes in handy. So me personally, I don't leave the house unless I pretty much have a bag full of food with me. And my mom and my sisters can attest to that. Like, it's no joke. It is literally part of my morning routine when I know that I'm not going to be home. So I will be making sure that I am throwing something in a bag, or whipping up one of my fiber protein shakes, or bringing some fruit, bringing some vegetables chopped up, whatever. Following an oil-free, whole food, plant-based diet, we don't have a lot of easy access to our foods. I mean, unless you're gonna run into the grocery store and perhaps maybe get some pre-chopped veggies or fruit or something, but you know what I mean. Generally speaking, we don't have a ton of options like people who eat fast food do. So therefore, you have to be ready for it. Because if you're not prepared and then you even, bend the rules even one time and say, well, I'm out, I'm starving, I'm just gonna eat this one thing or one meal that's not really aligned with, your eating plan. And then all of a sudden that sets you on some type of spiral that you can't really get out of. And if you've struggled losing weight, which I have, and I know just recently, actually, I went through that with Halloween candy. And I did actually put a video discussing my struggles and how it actually got me off track. So if you want to check out that video, then I can have that also posted in my description box below. But it basically just talks about what I was just about to say, that, I had an experience by eating just a little bit of Halloween candy that I thought honestly wouldn't even really be a big deal. Turned out to be a big deal because it put me on some type of food spiral. Very, very familiar with, other food spirals that I've been on in the past, that in the past actually threw me completely off my weight loss journey altogether. This time I was able to, catch it while it was happening, get it under control, and get back on track. But for those of us who struggle losing weight, that's not always the case. So if you're not prepared and you get caught out being hungry and then cave by eating something that you probably don't want to be eating, that can just kind of muck up everything. So for me, leaving the house, being prepared, having my food ready has been key to getting this weight off. And really quickly, I just want to add the same goes for even when you're at home. My focus in this video was more specifically when you're leaving the house because it's even tougher when you leave the house. But the same goes for even being home as far as being prepared, having your starches made in advance, having your veggies chopped, your fruit chopped, or whatever the case, your sauces made. Just having these things prepared are huge when it comes to staying on track. All right, so the next thing on my list is eating too much. Now, this might come as a shock to some because I think that there is this idea in the whole food plant-based world that you can eat as much as you want. And a lot of us who have been in this community for quite some time, those words are all too familiar. So you know what I'm talking about. And those exact words and thinking are what kind of held me back for many years to lose weight following a whole food plant-based diet. Now, I completely respect, understand, and appreciate that that might have worked for some people, and I think that that's excellent. And in all honesty, I wish I could trade them places, and I wish that was my story. But unfortunately, that did not work for me because I am a volume eater by nature, and so when someone tells me I can eat as much as I want, even if it's a good thing, then that just was dangerous territory for me. So I certainly did eat as much as I want, and that included, snacking, boredom eating, stress eating, emotional eating, because there's a lot of other factors that go into weight loss aside from just the food we put in our mouth. While the food does have a lot and almost everything to do with it, there's a lot of other deep-rooted issues that a lot of us are struggling with surrounding food. So when I heard that I could eat as much as I want, I took that quite literal. As long as it was on plan, as long as it was healthy, as long as it was whole food plant-based, that I could eat as much as I want and the weight was still going to come off. Oh, how I was terribly disappointed when I figured out the very hard way that this is very, very far from the truth. The key thing to always remember, no matter what diet you're following, is that you always, always have to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. So if you're eating too much, even if it is healthy, even if it is good for you, if you're eating too much of it, for what you're actually burning in that day, calorically speaking, then you're simply not going to lose weight. And in some cases, you will end up gaining weight. And this is why it's so important to understand that what works for one person may not work for you. So for myself with the plant-based diet, I really had to do a lot of tweaking, a lot of changes to figure out what works best for my body and gets me into that calorie deficit so that I'm in fat burning mode. You need to understand that eating healthy is not synonymous with losing weight. And if you're new to a plant-based diet, especially coming from the standard American diet, I think that is a really common misconception that we are sold within this community. So you have to be really, really careful with that and just understand that no matter what you're eating, you have to be in a calorie deficit in order to see the weight shift. Okay, and so the third thing that I thought was really holding me back from losing weight, and probably a lot of you, is eating too much fat. So as a lot of you who have been following me, this has been the key to my success with finally losing the weight. So much like what I was saying before, especially if you're new to a plant-based diet, coming off of, eating meat or eating a standard American diet, you come in thinking that as long as it's healthy, that it's, going to be great for weight loss. And that can be said for our higher fat plant-based foods like avocados, nut butters, nuts, and seeds. And from a nutritional standpoint, you are correct in thinking that these things are healthy. If you actually look into or study the nutritional profile of those plant-based foods that are higher in fat, they're excellent for our health. So I personally have nothing to say negatively when it comes from a nutritional standpoint with these higher fat plant-based foods. However, this was a huge learning curve for me when it came to losing weight following a plant-based diet. So again, I believed that because these foods were nutritionally excellent for us, that they had to be great for us from a weight loss perspective. Well, that's where I went terribly wrong. I used to make these gorgeous salads and I would be eating them with, a lot of my dressings that had nuts and seeds in them, or I'd even sprinkle seeds in the salad, avocado toast or even avocado in my salads. I loved these things. I love them. And I honestly thought that just by having a little bit here and a little bit there, that it really wasn't making that big of a difference. But when you do something, even if it is just a little bit, you do something over and over and over, eventually that little bit becomes a lot. And little did I know it was putting me in a calorie surplus rather than a calorie deficit. So while I was eating healthy, I just couldn't seem to get the weight to budge. And for me, that was the reason why. So about 5 months ago, I decided to get rid of any overt fats out of my diet. And within the first 8 weeks, 20 pounds melted off of me, no joke. I couldn't believe it, and I've never had anything like that happen in my life. So I was just so excited. And since then, I've just kept doing the same thing, and the weight steadily keeps coming off. Now, again, this is just what I've done and what's worked for me. I always encourage all of you to figure out what works best for you, because health and weight loss, let me tell you, it is not a one size fits all. So I really believe we all just have to figure out what works best for our own bodies. But I will say that if you are struggling to lose weight while following a plant-based diet, then even if you don't totally eliminate the overt fats like I have, then I would suggest maybe even try to limit the overt fats, even for a week or two, and just see if that gets things moving. Because since I've been doing this, a lot of you have actually reached out to me to tell me that you've started to limit those overt fats or remove them completely, and you've been having a lot of great success. So that makes me feel great because that's what's worked for me. So it's really exciting to hear that it's also working for a lot of you as well. All right, well, I do have other ideas of why, people really struggle to lose weight on a plant-based diet. And even myself, there was a handful of other things. I would definitely say that those are my top 3 reasons that I believe that people struggle to get the weight off following a plant-based diet. So if any of those 3 things sound all too familiar to you, then I would definitely recommend trying those 3 things that we've talked about today. So again, just to recap those 3 things, try being better prepared when you leave the house, because that is a key to staying on track and eating the foods you really want to be eating. The second thing was not eating too much. Now that can be, something that takes a couple of weeks to figure out what your sweet spot is with that, but just don't buy into that dream that you can literally eat as much as you want all day long, all night long, and that you're going to lose weight. So just be mindful of that and try to figure out, what foods and how much foods actually put you in that calorie deficit. And lastly is eating too much fat. If this sounds like something you could possibly be doing, even if it is just a little bit of, avocado here and there, or nut butters, or, nuts and seeds, that kind of thing, you would be surprised how much those things add up calorically speaking. So just try eliminating or reducing them for a little bit and see if that gets things moving for you. I personally did all 3 things and the weight is finally coming off. So again, if you are in need of some more recipes, or you are wanting recipes that no longer have the overt fats, breads, or pastas, then don't forget to check out that awesome pre-Black Friday special special that is going on right now, 60% off to the first 25 people. Again, that link will be found in my description box below. If you're new to my channel and you're also on a plant-based weight loss journey, or you just want to follow along mine, I give all my tips and advice and tricks and everything that I've been doing to finally get this weight to budge, because let me tell you, it's been a long time coming. As well as I share what I'm eating in a day, lots of different recipes, all my struggles, just the whole kit and caboodle when it comes to weight loss. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, then be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out, because I would love to have you stick around. All right, everyone, so I'm gonna leave the video here and I will see all of you in the next one.